Hello everybody and welcome to today's lesson, which brings us to today. First, we are going to go through the details of a business that we are creating a search campaign for. In lesson 5 for Facebook campaigns, I used a furniture company example and we are sticking to that theme. I have, however, fleshed out the story quite a bit for the purposes of today's lesson. Then we're going to go through the chosen keywords, the ad group structure, the ad copy, and the extensions. And we're spending quite a bit of time here, as I think understanding the decisions that I've made and the structure will help you get to know search better. And then we will close off with some more important information you should know about before launching a campaign in search. This leaves us with our final lesson of Module 3 being dedicated to working within the Google Ads platform. Here is a doc with information about the business that we are going to be working with today. We have the name and industry of the business, as well as some key information about their service, which I will go through just now. Then we have URLs that we can use for the campaign, and some notes about their website usability and overall company or service. This information about the business would either come from you, whether you own the business or you just have to do all the research, or it would be provided by the business if it was your client. If I haven't received this kind of info, or the way in which I received it was not great, what I like to do is almost write a story about the business, which will assist me with writing ad copy and choosing extensions. Whether you're coming up with this information or not, it's important to check the website and see what could be used there. For example, their tagline or a sentence that you think is quite powerful, etc. So what we have here, and I'm going to sound possibly like a bit of an ad, but I want to read this out to you. Situated in the heart of Manhattan, New York, this family-owned furniture manufacturer offers custom made-to-order sofas from a wide variety of high-quality, sustainable materials. Creating your sofa has never been easier. Order your free swatch kit to get a feel for the fabrics, complete the design process with our easy-to-use online tool, and once you have placed your order, your custom comfort will be delivered to you within 21 days. Then I also have choose from 7 types of wood, 18 sofa styles with your custom measurements, and over 50 materials and leathers. Visit our showroom in Manhattan to browse our most popular designs from the last 6 months. And then Custom Comfort believes that a sofa is one of the most important buying decisions for your home. Lower quality sofas show wear and tear within the first year of use, yet the average household buys a sofa once every 5 years. Custom Comfort sofas stay looking and feeling the same as the day it was delivered. No lumpy cushions or seats that try to eat you, no creaky legs or pokey springs, no faded material, just pure quality and comfort and a unique addition to your space. All our sofas come with a 5-year guarantee, and after 5 years, we'll recover your sofa at no additional cost. See, so this is the kind of information that I would need or I would be looking for when it comes to creating their campaign. I need to know more information about their service offering, not just that they sell sofas or they make sofas, knowing things about the types of wood, the styles, the different measurements or materials, any guarantees that they have, their delivery fees. All that kind of information is what you need when you're setting up your campaign, as I'm sure you know and that we've covered in the previous lessons. And as I said, this is a completely made up company, but this is the kind of information that I would expect. Under the URLs, you can see that we have the homepage, we have design your own sofa, then there's a showroom page, an about page, contact us, and the free swatch delivery landing page. We'll talk more on landing pages when we actually create the campaign. Then something else I like to do is to submit the site through Google's Page Speed Insights tool, which we also looked at in Module 1, just to see if there are any major issues which might need to be resolved before the campaign can go live. This is the first step, of course. The second step would be to check each URL and make sure all looks fine. We spoke about that in lesson 6. So here I've just noted that their desktop speed and usability is 81, mobile is 70, and there are some errors around image caching and CSS. Now, these are not things that are within my control, but there are things that I could make the client aware of and show how to improve, because that would improve the overall performance. And then in terms of notes about the business, the pricing is high end, so no cheap or affordable terms to target. They don't do sectionals, that's a kind of style of sofa. And the delivery and guarantee is included in the initial cost. Then below this information are some campaigns. We won't have time to create all of these today. We will just be building the first one, but I wanted to give you a better idea of a strategy for a business like this. Our first campaign is always on, with the objective of swatch requests and sofa designs. Submitting a request for a swatch would be a lead, and that is the business's chosen tactic for getting potential customer information. And then, of course, submitting and paying for a sofa design would be a purchase. So in other words, the objective of this always on campaign is leads and sales. The targeting here is United States with a bid adjustment in Manhattan. All genders aged 25 to 65 plus. All devices with a 100% bid adjustment for mobile. So we're going to be bidding 100% more than we would on desktop, as well as targeting the audiences of all site visitors, excluding converters. The work of a good campaign manager or a good person managing this is to take this targeting, as I think I've said before, which can be quite broad, but then to try and find different audiences or different targets within that overall target that will perform better, and focus your spend and optimize there. Under scheduling, I have decided to create a rule to increase bids in the first and last weeks of the month, as these are the best performing weeks in terms of sales due to payday and general spending habits. I will show you the rule creation during the setup of the campaign. Then the keywords to target in this campaign on a high level are generic and competitor terms, but I wouldn't have these within one campaign. I would create one generic campaign and one competitor campaign. Today we are just focusing on generic. The budget is $8,000 per month, and as this is an always on campaign, I won't be using a lifetime budget within Google Ads, so we will calculate the daily spend a little bit later. I've also added the campaign name with AWO, meaning always on, followed by the kinds of keywords, so generic, and the conversion that we will be optimizing for. In this case, it's design, sofas, and swatch requests, so that's 2. Then if I move across here, you can see a bit more info. We've got the bid strategy that I've selected will be enhanced CPC. And I've chosen the position-based attribution. I chose this as this business is in a state of growth. And with an always-on campaign, we want to track all the performing keywords and ensure that we protect them over time. And lastly, we have the URL and UTM for this campaign. I wouldn't send them directly to the request a swatch page that you saw here. If you think about the customer journey, they're going to want to know more about the product before requesting a swatch. With a business like this, I would focus on doing different landing page tests, etc. after the first month or so, just because at this point we're not sure which of these pages or these URLs that we've been given would perform best. Although we've already decided that sending them directly to the free swatch delivery page won't work. Then underneath this campaign, we have another always on campaign for brand terms. The targeting is literally just the United States. We won't add any further targeting that could potentially narrow this audience down, as we literally want anyone who searches for the brand to be able to find us. As a new company, our SEO ranking would not be high enough potentially to cover all these brand searches, so we do need to make sure that we're there. The budget is $1,000 per month, which is significantly lower than the first campaign, as brand CPCs should be low, or they will be much lower than generic terms. They might start out higher in the beginning, but once Google kind of gets used to you, so to speak, brand CPCs should decrease. Once they recognize that you are actually the brand that is bidding on those brand terms, then your CPCs should decrease. I follow the same campaign naming convention. We've got always on, brand keywords, and then the traffic objective. Instead of going with eCPC, so enhanced CPC for brand, I have chosen manual CPC as I don't want brand terms to be pushed up more than necessary. And then finally, we have a 3-month campaign with the objective of showroom visits. So the targeting here would just be Manhattan because that's where the showroom is. I would place a lot of focus on mobile here. So the bid adjustment for mobile is plus 300%. I would also try call-only ads over and above the text and responsive ads. The keywords for this campaign here, this third one, would be different from the first campaign. We'll cover more on that just now when we look at the keywords. Then these are the additional audiences that I'm going to be targeting on observation. So it's not narrowing it down to target only these audiences. It's everyone plus these audiences. That's really what observation means. We're going to look at 3 in-market audiences, specifically real estate, moving and relocation, and residential properties. Telecom, all of the categories within that. Then home and garden in market for home furnishings and living room. And for this audience specifically, I might even add a bid adjustment so that we increase bids here. And then finally, there's an affinity audience, which is for home and garden. And we'll add those when we actually create the campaign. You'll see the options within Google Ads. We are using the online Google Ads interface to create this campaign. I must add that it is not the most efficient way to set up campaigns. It's been a good few years since I set up a campaign in the actual interface. However, I think that unless you are starting out with a massive campaign, using the online interface is a great way to get to know it. And the fact that it forces you to slow down means less chance of errors. Also, I would normally use 2 screens as it is much easier to have the campaign info on one screen and then the Google Ads interface on the other. But for today, I'm using one screen, and in some cases, I'll need to split that screen so that you can see what I'm doing. What I have mostly used to set up campaigns is something called the Google Ads Editor. It is a free download. It links to your Google Ads account, and then you can download any accounts or campaigns, etc. into the program. You can then work on the campaign within the editor, and what's great about this is that the changes you are making aren't done live, and you can also work on your campaigns while offline. In the meantime, when we look at the ad copy I have created, pay attention to the way that I have set them out, as it is very similar to how you would upload an Excel of new information to the editor. This is a doc that I have for the keywords and ad copy. For now, just pay attention to the keywords. This original list that I have here is the keyword ideas that I downloaded from the keyword planner, like we did, or like the screenshots I showed you in lesson 6. As you can see, there are thousands. I think this list is about 2,900 keywords. I also just highlighted some for a few reasons. If we scroll here to sectional, so all of these keywords here, they wouldn't apply because Custom Comfort doesn't make sectional couches. And so the word sectional would be added to my list of negatives for the campaign. In fact, I would probably add it at account level so that any campaigns within the account would not pick up that word. If we look further down and you can see the word cheap here, these are high-end custom couches and therefore not cheap. Another negative to add to the account. And then this keyword here that says near me. This is an example of a keyword that I would actually place in the campaign where we are trying to increase showroom visits and targeting Manhattan. So that's what I mean when I say we would target different keywords within those campaigns. This is a very mobile focused, location based search. So it wouldn't necessarily make sense to put in this always on design sofa campaign, but it's perfect for the objective of showroom visits, especially if we're targeting Manhattan. Then from this list of thousands of keywords, I cut it down to just this list here. It's my chosen keywords. It's 99 in total, and I made it that due to the budget. If, as you can see, there's a wide range of average monthly searches, varying from 10 all the way up to 2,000, 3,600. And this is a new campaign. We have no idea how it's going to perform for this business. So that's why I chose a big variety. And also sometimes just because the monthly searches say it's very low at 10, it doesn't give you that low search volume warning when you're actually targeting that keyword. So there are actually enough searches, to warrant it being targeted. That's only something that we'll know when we create the campaign and make it live. I might find once launching this campaign that the volumes and therefore the spend aren't high enough. So there are a few things that I could do. Namely, I could add additional keywords from the original list. So from this list of almost 3,000, I could find additional ones. I could increase bids on the existing keywords. Let's say if they're in a low position or the volume is quite low, I could try and increase that with a higher bid. Or I could go through the search terms and add the converting ones to my campaign if they aren't exactly what I have. Before we discuss the negatives, I just want to jump on to the ad groups. From the list of chosen keywords, I have split these out into different ad groups. As this is an always-on campaign, I want to protect my keywords and focus on quality score. I'm not going so far as adding a single keyword per ad group in all cases, but I have split them out quite a bit. So as you can see here, we have these four keywords are in one ad group. Then we have 3 keywords in another ad group, 2 keywords. As you can see, the keywords grouped together are tightly related, and in some cases there is just one keyword in an ad group, but I haven't put that as a standard, for the entire campaign. This one here, for example, luxury couches for sale, is in its own ad group. I am also keeping the different match types separate, so that's why you're seeing 2 different ad groups for the same keywords. I'm choosing to go with broad match modifier, which is what BMM stands for, and for exact. I do this for control, as I will be excluding the exact match term from the broad match modifier ad group, and I will show you this just now when we create it. I do this so that only the exact match ad groups pick up the exact matched term, and the broad match modifier keywords pick up anything else but that. So let's just take this luxury sofa ad group as an example. The luxury sofa exact ad group will pick up luxury sofas for sale, exactly that, and nothing else. Well, these other keywords as well, but just for this keyword. However, the broad match modifier keyword will be excluding this exactly, so it won't pick up luxury sofas for sale, but it could pick up leather luxury sofas for sale, for example, or luxury sofas for sale on special. Any other terms that have those words in them, but not the exact match. Another reason for doing this is that you will often find very different CPCs depending on the match type. And of course, your quality score may differ as well between the 2 match types, or however many match types you have. I haven't completed this for all the keywords chosen, but there will be a total of 42 ad groups, 21 in broad match modifier and 21 in exact. Now, here is my list of negatives with a record of whether they will be added at account, campaign, or ad group level. Apart from excluding other types of furniture at account level and terms around cheap and affordable at campaign level, I would also exclude brands that offer the same thing but aren't on the same price level. For example, here we have IKEA. Someone looking for IKEA is looking for something at a lower price range, and as it is such a big brand, I don't want to compete with that, i.e. waste money. Towards the bottom here, we have keywords that I would add as negatives to individual ad groups. Apart from what I was speaking about earlier in terms of adding the exact match to the broad match modifier ad groups, I would also, for example, in the build couch ad group, I would exclude the word sofa. I do this because I want the sofa ad groups to pick up the sofa searches. And as I mentioned just now, this gives you more control over which keywords pick up which search terms. And I'm also wanting to focus on quality score, as this is an always on campaign. So these examples here, I would exclude sofa and settee from the couch ad groups. I would exclude couch from the sofa ad groups. This might look like a bit much, and for this business specifically, maybe it is. But the more control that you're able to have, or the more defined you're able to make things from the beginning, in many cases, means better performance. I haven't fully completed the list in terms of all of those chosen keywords, but I hope that you're getting a good idea of what this would entail. Here is the ad copy I have created. For this campaign, we have 2 text ads, 1 responsive ad, and 1 call-only ad. I've put each ad in a separate tab so that it doesn't get too confusing. But if we look at text ad A, if you look at the first headline, you can see that it is related to the ad group. It is one of the keywords from that ad group. The second headline is either quality sustainable materials or order your free swatch today. And the first and second descriptions of all these ads are the same, with the only difference being that where the search is sofa, the copy says sofa. Where it says couch, it's couch, and etc. Again, trying to focus on that quality score. The second description ends with a CTA, a call to action, order your free swatch today. Then moving on to text ad B, I've used keyword insertion. Let me just drag that across. I've used keyword insertion in the first headline with a different keyword from the same ad group appearing if the search term is longer than 30 characters. Remember, that is how keyword insertion works. It will insert the user's search term into the headline of the ad if it isn't longer than 30 characters. However, if it is, then it'll display whatever I've put in here. So in this case, it would display build a couch online. And the second headline is different to the first ad. And of course, the descriptions are as well. Then we have a responsive ad where I have added 5 different headlines and descriptions, but you can actually add more than that. And finally, we have the call only ad. It's going to sit in the same campaign as the other ads, so we can't schedule this to run only during office hours. A way around this would be to have the call only ads in its own campaign, which could then be scheduled. But then you would need to target different keywords so that you don't have multiple campaigns competing against each other, targeting the same keywords. The call only ads require the phone number, of course, 2 headlines and 2 descriptions. We also need to include the business name during the creation of the ad. Then here is our list of extensions. There are quite a few. We're going with call outs, site links, price extensions, and then a structured snippet. I thought about using the lead extension as well, but for this type of business and to keep quality high, I would want to encourage people to view more information about the product before requesting a swatch. If you think about it, who is more likely to make a purchase? Someone who spent 10 minutes on the website looking at the different couches and the materials and the pricing, etc., before submitting a swatch request? Or someone who hasn't even visited the website but fills in the lead extension to request a swatch? And they don't even have to visit the website after that. They can leave and carry on. This is the same question that I honestly have when it comes to Facebook lead forms or any other lead forms that aren't directly on the site. If your objective is leads with no mention of quality, then of course lead forms are fantastic. But the decision does get trickier when quality, as in the actual purchases as a result of those leads or after those leads, comes into question. Anyway, this is a discussion for another day, but I have left out the lead extension in this example. Then I also have the locations listed out here. Now, we said that we were going to be targeting the United States, and you can literally just type in United States and target all states. But From a performance perspective, what is great to do is to segment even the locations as much as possible, because then if there is a specific state or city or whatever it is performing better, then you can increase your bids there while keeping the others the same, so you're just going after that good performance, just capitalizing on it better, I guess. Now that we have looked at the campaign information, there are a few things that I want to draw your attention to when planning this lesson. So we'll be going through the position in the search engine results page, the low search volume status, first page bid, and then keyword diagnosis. So first up, the position in the SERPs. There are a maximum of 8 ads on the first page of the search results. There are 4 ads on the top and 4 on the bottom below the organic search results. As you know, your position on the SERPs depends on your ad rank. Now, previously within Google Ads, you could see what your average position was. I mentioned that in the last lesson, but now they have changed the position metrics. And the first one is called the top impression rate. And this is the percentage at which your ad was in any position above the organic search results. So in positions 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then there is the absolute top impression rate. And this is the percentage at which your ad was in position number 1. So the top of the results page. These two metrics together won't add up to 100%. Because the absolute top is included in the top impression rate, because it is from 1 to 4, if that makes sense. It's important to get to grips with these position metrics because they'll be part of what we look at when we optimize a campaign. So let's go through a quick example to better illustrate the position. Let's say that you have a top impression rate of 47%. What this means is that 53% of the time you were below the organic results. So in positions 5 to 8. This ratio becomes important when you're trying to optimize your account, as I said just now, whether it's if you want more volume or you need to cut costs. When you're looking at your position, the metrics can assist with which keywords can be increased or decreased with the least risk, so to speak. But of course, there is always a bit of a risk. You might be asking yourself why this matters so much. And the truth is that the position of your ad has a direct effect on your CTR. This is simplifying it a little, but essentially people don't scroll, never mind not even going to the second page of search results. Many people don't even scroll down to the bottom of the first page. They also expect relevant results to be at the top. I think that's quite logical and is what many companies and methodologies, especially if now referring to SEO, they have provided this most relevant info as well as perpetuating it. So it's really just something that we're all used to. And then, of course, the entire ad is actually rarely read in its entirety. As soon as someone thinks that it's relevant or irrelevant to them, they'll either click on your ad or they will look for something else. I am sure that I've said this before, but many people won't even read past your headline. And that is why it is so important to match them to the keywords that people are searching for. Then if we move on to low search volume, this is a status that you'll see at keyword level for some of your keywords. It is eligible to run ads, but it isn't performing as well as it could because the searches for this keyword are low. I know that the bottom line here says that it isn't eligible, but with some keywords, you might still see some impressions coming through. Then another keyword status that you will see at some point is something called first or below first page bid. And it is a warning given next to the keyword if your bid is too low. And what it means is that you may still receive impressions, but likely not from the first page. There is also another warning here in that box. It says this keyword is not triggering ads to appear on Google right now due to a low ad rank. Of course, you want to avoid this as much as possible, and that is about focusing on your quality score. But in the beginning, it might be more frequent, just depending on your keyword choices and your budget. You need some volume to gather first. If we look at the bottom here, there's something that says test again and then preview and diagnosis. So if we move on to keyword diagnosis, this is a tool within Google Ads where you can choose your targeted location, your language, your device, and your audience. Although you don't have to choose all of them, you can just, for example, choose the location that you're targeting. And then it will tell you whether your ad is currently showing or not. This is a good thing to check when you see a drop in impressions and overall as an account health check. Also, when it comes to those statuses that we just went through, so for low search volume and below first page bid, the keyword diagnosis can actually tell you whether the ad is still running, regardless of those statuses. Sometimes Google can contradict itself, so it is always just good to check with a tool like this. And there we have it for this lesson. We are now fully prepared for our campaign creation. Well done for getting here. Thank you so much for joining me. We are almost at the end of the third module. I have really enjoyed it so far, and I hope you have too. Bye, everybody. See you soon.